Good evening, I'm Davina and I'm from the Nisga'a Nation, Northern BC. And we're one of 7 tribes of the Nisga'a people, and I'm a killer whale, a killer whale woman. Although I would like to do something else. No, I'm just kidding, sorry. Anyways, my topic tonight is on effective listening skills. And I would like to talk about that because I had a problem with that for years and never ever listened properly, but preferred to do a lot of the talking instead in groups and with friends. Anyways, if expressing our wants, feelings, thoughts, and opinions clearly, effectively is only half of the communication process needed for interpersonal effectiveness. And the other half is listening and understanding what others communicate to us. In the book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, one of the habits is, if you want to be understood, listen. Or in Stephen Covey's words, seek first to understand, then be understood. First seek to understand the other person, then and only then try to be understood. Covey presents this habit as the most important principle of the interpersonal relations. Effective listening is not simply echoing what the other person has said through the lens of one's own experience. Rather, it is putting oneself in the perspective of the other person, listening empathetically for both feeling and meaning. One of the biggest mistakes many people make is to want to be heard. What about listening to what others have to say first? Let's listen to the speaker and hear what the speaker would like to share. Yeah, that's it, sharing. Do you think the speaker speaks from the heart? What is the theory on what is being said? Everyone is allowed their own opinion. There is never any wrong way that anything is done. We speak from open hearts. When we listen to someone who has a learning disability, we can tell. When I say someone with a learning disability, I mean someone who has stopped growing. Someone who's too set in their ways that there's no way to think but their own way. They have stopped listening effectively. Woodrow Wilson says, the ear of the leader must ring with the voices of the people. To me, that means the leader speaks from the heart. She has heard her people, and this is what effective listening skills is about. It's about mirroring the needs of the people. There's an old saying that I still hear being used by many. It's, we were given 2 ears but only 1 mouth, because listening is twice as hard as talking, which is very true. According to Dr. Larry Natick, there are 3 types of listening styles. Competitive or combative listening happens when we are more interested in promoting our own point of view than in understanding or exploring someone else's point of view. We listen for openings to take the floor or flaws, or for flaws or weak points we can attack. As we pretend to pay attention, we are patiently waiting for an opening or internally formulating our rebuttal and planning our devastating comeback that will destroy the argument and make us the victor. In passive attentive listening, we are, this is number 2. In passive or attentive listening, we are genuinely interested in hearing and understanding the other person's point of view. We are attentively and passively listening. We assume that we are heard, understood correctly, but stay passive and do not verify it. Number 3, the active or reflective listening is the single most useful and important listening skill. In active listening, we are also genuinely interested in understanding what the other person is thinking, feeling, wanting, or what the message means, and we are active in checking out our own understanding before we respond to our new message. We restate or paraphrase our understanding of their message and reflect it back to the sender for verification. This verification or feedback process is what distinguishes active listening and makes it effective. When I realized I wanted to be a counselor, I wanted to understand people more specifically, I wanted to understand my own people. I had one major problem. I like to talk. this and I put this and it says, I was anal retentive. Oh well. I had the ability to learn, but not with the heart. I had textbook knowledge, but that was useless because I was one of those combative listeners. I used to want to learn. I knew I wanted to learn to listen, so I searched for better women's support services, because back in the mid to late 90s, I had a friend who informed me that BWSS would be the best place to learn. Besides, if I decide to return to complete my family science degree, I will have that under my belt. So off I went to BWSS and everything just fell into place. I had to learn to listen with my heart, and now I'm no longer a combative listener. Thank you for listening to me. It was an honor.
Awesome. Woo!
Do you have any questions? Hey, wait. Yes?
Can you give me some examples of body language and people, if they're listening effectively to people?
Well, I think when you're listening to someone, to have your arms crossed and not to be looking away, not to be chewing, but to look with and listen with empathy and understand what they're talking about. And one of the things that I learned when I worked at social services, I used to go to these workshops all the time, is put yourself in the person of the person you're listening to. Then you will understand with your heart what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Any more questions? All right, thank you. Were you going to ask another question?
No.
Oh, okay. Thank you.